What if you had always known the divine perfection that you truly are? What if you were born with full knowing and sovereign remembrance of your sacred divinity, to intimately know your oneness with the source of infinite love? What if joy and freedom were taught as the core curriculum of your upbringing? What if passion, pleasure, and play were always normalized through purity and innocence? What if worthiness and confidence had always been patterned into the core of your identity? What if you'd always felt empowered in the being of your body, anchored in heart-centered courage, inner leadership, self-trust, and the authentic vision of your soul? What if you'd always been taught to see, feel, and know infinite abundance as your natural state of being, to feel lavishly supported and totally taken care of? What if you had always known inner peace and tranquility? What if you had always enjoyed the bliss of pure presence? What if you'd always received unconditional love by simply being you? What if your mind had always been the perfect meeting space between your soul and your body, where your body feels like a wonderful place to live in and experience life through, where your mind feels like a spacious, luxurious mansion and your identity feels attuned with the authentic essence of who you truly are? Who would you be now if your childhood self had always been aware of their divinity? Welcome to Kristin's Quantum Catalyzers, where we explore body, mind, and soul to activate the infinite love of who you truly are. Here we play with neuroscience and consciousness to explore and expand inner realities in transcendent ways, and experience heaven on earth through the magic of our own divine soul essence. This healing journey of inner work gets to be fun, provide accelerated results of lasting transformation, and be so enjoyable that you look forward to showing up for it and reaping the rewards of how you consciously direct your inner energy through love and presence. I'm your host, Kristin Windsor, here to help unify body, mind, and soul using neuroscience, consciousness, and infinite love. Thank you for joining Kristin's Quantum Catalyzers. The journey of soul awakening and spiritual ascension often involves alchemizing a living hell into heaven on earth to know the greatest depths of darkness, struggle, trauma, pain, fragmentation of self, and the greatest disruption of inner well-being imaginable, and to alchemize, heal, and transform all of that at its root cause within body, mind, and soul in order to expand your consciousness and cultivate heaven on earth from within your being. That is the journey that I am here to serve and support you with so that you can have all of the awareness, tools, practices, insights, techniques, all the magic, the loving guidance and nourishing support so that you can accelerate and quantum catalyze your journey, where you can achieve miracles and healing that would otherwise take years and years and years can be condensed into weeks and months, and you can quantum leap your healing to experience radical restoration of your well-being, wonder-filled transformation within body, mind, and soul, and to expand into all that you desire to experience from the inside out. How can you do this? How can you take struggle, challenge, pain, trauma, mental health battles, disruptions in your emotions, unhealthy habits, toxic relationships, unconscious patterns, projections of thoughts that feel disruptive, the inner critic, inner voices, perfectionism, self-doubt, anxiety, loneliness, depression, bitterness, disconnection, dissociation, eating disorders, outbursts of rage, self-harm, substance addiction, whatever it might be. How can you take the depths of darkness and show up every day to reclaim your power, to heal your inner being, to transmute that darkness into the light of your soul, and to shift your identity so that you can associate with who you are, independent of those struggles that you are in the process of healing from? And how can you use what you are going through as a launch pad to step into your fullest self, your authentic expression, and your soul's highest divine timeline? So you're not just returning to baseline, but you're using your experience and struggle as an opportunity, an initiation to activate the fullness of your inner being and arise into your highest divine self and expression, the embodiment of your soul and the expression of all that you are within your human experience. It is through personal story that you can know what is possible, the change that is possible, the healing that is possible, the transformation that is possible, the power that you have within your inner being to create the change that you desire to experience. It is through story that you can know that you are not alone, that what you are going through is valid, that you are seen and loved unconditionally, that you have the freedom and the power to heal your own inner self, and that you are worthy of experiencing the beautiful ecstasy of deep, radical resolution of anything that you are in the process of healing from. When I serve my one-on-one clients, it is not from studying concepts or getting some fancy certification or going to school to learn how to be a coach. It's from 7 years of deep, intensive, gnarly as fuck inner work, facing the depths of trauma and shadow, going through the most horrific, horrendous experiences imaginable, and learning how to hold myself in that journey, learning how to become my own healer, learning to become my own hero. And that's what I help my clients do. I am not a healer of other people. I am a teacher and a guide, a mentor, so that everyone I work with can learn how to be their own healer, to be their own hero, to have all the tools and awareness that they can create all the change they desire to experience in their life, that they have all the power and access to their infinite power and the awareness to use that infinite power within them to achieve all that they desire in self-healing, soul awakening, and sacred expansion. I believe the purpose of working with someone is so that you can have the tools to learn how to work better within your own self, so that you won't need an ongoing healer outside of you, but so that you have full awareness and power to become that for yourself and to carry that wisdom and those skill sets with you to serve and support your infinite unfolding in this lifetime. And so here's my story of how I alchemized a living hell into heaven on earth. My past self, my inner evolutionary hero, went through a literal living hell, like the absolute definition of hell in any way you can imagine was her 24/7 reality. There was a complete mind-body disconnect where the mind felt like hundreds and thousands of inner voices. And none of those voices felt like her, and they were all carrying trauma. And so everything you can imagine, any thought that you would ever have from trauma was just screaming incessantly at her. Hundreds of voices inside of her mind, screaming, living terror 24/7. This had been happening on and off for over 10 years. And it reached a point where it became louder and stronger and more constant, and nothing could help relieve the constant flood of inner chatter and these voices where it just felt like psychosis most of the time. And there was so much disconnection from the self, screaming inner voices that felt like psychosis, screaming inner voices of massive amounts of trauma. The body was reliving traumatic sensations of sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, religious abuse, emotional abuse, massive levels of torture in every layer of the body, mental, emotional, physical, energetic bodies. And the bodies were just reliving this trauma constantly. There was a constant reliving of the horrific sensations that had accumulated from 20 years of complex trauma. The mind and the body had no connection, so if the body was feeling something, the mind couldn't interpret it. And so if the body was tasting food or smelling a flower, the mind couldn't experience it. The self couldn't actually taste the food or smell the flower. And yet, if there were just a few ants that had been crawling on the skin while outside playing on a playground or something, it felt like a million bees were stinging the skin. There was so much disruption in the processing of somatic sensations. There were split brain hemispheres, causing a chronic experience where my past self could only access half of her brain and her body at a time. And to help this, she would try going for walks to help gently stimulate that other half of her brain and her body, and half of her body would just be dragging behind her, and when she smiled, only half of her face would engage. And it was very similar to a stroke patient, but it was just the chronic result of this trauma that had been compounding over many years. It was difficult to exercise. It was the most gnarly brain challenge to try and move the body because only half the brain, half the body was engaging at a time, but she showed up for that practice in the process of self-healing. There were 20 states of personhood, alternate states of the self, while self-healing from dissociative identity disorder, or what was renamed as adaptable consciousness condition in my implicit revelations case study. And so there was 20 states of self that had no connection with each other, and they all experienced life through fragmented memories. They were all a complex response to trauma. So every one of those 20 states of self was basically just a glorified trauma response, and none of it was an expression of my own authentic inner being. And they all carried these separate trauma responses, and healing one aspect of the self didn't necessarily heal another. So it was like self-healing 20 different people that all had complex trauma. And with amnesic barriers between aspects of self, there was disruption of internal communication. And so if there was an endeavor in a project, for example, other parts of the self might have no idea about it, and it made so many challenges just navigating everyday life and showing up for coherent, fluid decisions and choices and connections and relationships, and a fluidity within the self that was having an experience. With that, there were several states of age regressive aspects of self. The brain and the body would literally revert to the neurobiological activity of a young child. And this unique manifestation of dissociation caused the brain and the body and the subconscious to relive life through the lens of being 2 years old, 6 months old, 4 years old, 5 years old. And it was uncomfortable to experience life in an adult body when the internal navigation believed the body to be 3 feet tall and 4 years old. The voice would revert to speaking as a young child as the brain and the body relived that stage of life that had gotten stuck from this really gnarly trauma. And from that to the intensive inner teenager that came forth with massive amounts of rage and anger, and helping hold space for all these parts of self so that The protective aspects of the inner teenager didn't scare the young inner children, and the adult self could function in life while still providing for all the needs of these traumatized parts of the self. There was chronic loss of language centers called aphasia, multiple types of aphasia, where my past self literally lost the physical ability to speak, to process language that other people were saying, to read, to write, and even to internally narrate and speak to the self inside of the mind. The ability and access to language went out chronically for weeks, months, and years. Nervous system dysregulation was so severe that a flight response would cause my past self to go running down the street and hide under a tree because she couldn't figure out how to feel safe in her body. Fight stress responses cause so much disruption in relationships and cause so much friction and disharmony in communicating with other people. The freeze stress response caused so much fear to a state of overwhelm where everything just felt like a living hell and there was no escape from it. The fold stress response caused a chronic loss of consciousness, just like a possum playing dead. The body of my past self would literally collapse, faint, fall to the floor, losing consciousness, unable to get up. The dysregulation was so severe, my past self lived with chronic oxygen deprivation. There was an abundance of air all around her, but her body was in such a state of trauma, it could not receive the abundance of life that was already there waiting for her. And once she discovered that oxygen deprivation was a part of what she was struggling with, she got an oxygen machine and self-administered over 700 hours of oxygen therapy, showing up for herself, carrying that machine around wherever she was, plugging it in wherever there was an outlet, being outside to get grounded as much as possible. And every single hour of every single day for weeks, months, and years, my past self showed up for her oxygen therapy to reteach her body how to breathe. All of this while struggling with dozens of disruptions in mental and emotional health, obsessive compulsions, teletrichomania, where she would pull at her hair and not even realize she was doing it. There would be wads of hair in her hands and she didn't even know that she had been doing that because she was so dissociated from her body. Eating disorders and so much disruption in the capacity to eat, because eating would activate the state of the nervous system carrying the childhood trauma and would cause the body to relive it and go into this intensive dorsal vagal collapse. And there was so much disconnection from the body, it was hard to tell when the body felt hungry. And she couldn't taste food, so it was hard to enjoy the process of eating when she knew she had to show up for it. And so much dissociation, she couldn't even prepare meals in a way where she felt present with the experience. She was finding new ways to cope, finally able to stop from 10 years of chronic self-harm, 10 years of substance abuse, addiction to drugs and alcohol. And so many unhealthy coping mechanisms she had been using for 10 long years. She was finally able to stop all of that. And so she had to come up with new ways to cope, new ways to heal and self-regulate, new ways to respond to the disruptions inside of her. Anxiety, panic attacks that lasted 2 hours long and felt like her chest was exploding and she was having a heart attack. Suicidality, depression, psychosis, where she would see things that weren't there, hear things that weren't there, feel things that weren't actually happening because of all the disruption and mind-body connection, because of all the trauma trapped inside of the body. And over 50 types of dissociation that she identified and created terms to describe, because there hadn't been language to describe these horrific, horrendous, and indescribably unique experiences. Chronic insomnia and night terrors, where the one space that you would find rest and relief from it all wasn't available most of the time, and when it was, it always led to unconsciously reliving trauma and awakening in the most horrific PTSD response. chronic tachycardia and bradycardia, the most incredibly intense, dramatic, unhealthy heart rates, where she did these case studies and her heart rate would go from really, really low, like 50 beats per minute, to really, really high, like 120 beats per minute in a matter of seconds or minutes when there was an intense emotional response being triggered in the nervous system. And it was so difficult to be in a healthy range of her heart rate and to reach a healthy level of oxygen intake by self-regulating the trauma responses and the emotions that were arising in this process of deep healing. And my past self struggled with chronic physical pain. There had been so much trauma that compounded inside of the body, along with not being able to get grounded in her body or feel her body or enjoy sensations through her body, and along with constant reliving of sensations from specific traumatic experiences. My past self lived with chronic physical pain that was debilitating, blinding migraines, chronic pain in every inch of the body. There were times where she could barely get up just to walk to the bathroom, where it was painful and difficult to even go to the bathroom. There was so much physical pain inside of the body from all of the trauma that had been trapped inside of it. And I'm talking every single inch of the body from head to toe. There was so much disarray that she would twist her ankle just going for a walk because the body literally could not support its own existence. And without consistently being connected to the body or having access to both sides of the body at the same time, it was hard to strengthen the body to help heal from that. And my past self struggled with the most gnarly waves of intense emotions. I'm talking feeling the most gnarly anger and rage you can imagine, feeling the most overwhelming despair and depression imaginable, feeling the most intensive emotional waves in every cell of her body, not just a feeling that you perceive in your mind, but where every inch of her body was feeling the intensity of these emotions. And when combined with all the other things and the inner chatter of the mind and the disconnection of the body, it was even harder to navigate those intense waves of emotions. It was all just a constant living hell. And for all of these intensive years, my past self could not recognize who she saw in a mirror. She did mirror practices daily, and it took years before she even started to connect with the idea of who she saw in a mirror. There was so much dissociation. She couldn't recognize herself in a mirror. She couldn't feel connected with her body. It felt like the aspects of self in her mind had no relationship with the aspects of self in her body, and even the different body parts had no connection with each other. There was a hand and a foot, but it was hard to tell that they were even a part of the same body. She had very little association with her own name, Kristin, her own identity of self. And as if all of this wasn't intense enough, for 5 years, my past self could not create any new personal autobiographical memories. There was no personal experiences being recorded in her brain in the intensive challenge of everything that I just described. And I am still in the process of learning how to connect with all parts of myself in a personal way where there is an autobiographical narrative to my own fucking existence. Every single moment of every single day felt like a living hell. And you know what my past self did? My past self showed up for herself. My past self said, I have infinite power and I am the only person responsible for using the infinite power that I already have within me. My past self created rituals and practices for every time of the day, for every part of her inner self or her inner family, for every type of symptom and struggle that she experienced. She created a practice. And so it was that time of day, she showed up for that practice. There was this challenge arising within her, she showed up for that practice. There was this part of the self being present and saying, hey, I need something. She showed up for that practice. And she had systems in place so that even when she couldn't remember what the practice was, she had somewhere to go, a binder, a video library, whatever it was. And there was an outline that she had created for herself by collaborating with all parts of her inner family. And there was a detailed description of, okay, you're experiencing this, go do this. And then her body started recording muscle memory to instinctively know how to show up for those parts of self, even when she had no personal memory of doing that before. My past self showed up for her inner soul family, even when she did not want to show up for the experience. The experience was nothing worth showing up for. But she created these beautiful relationships within all parts of self. And so she wanted to show up for them. She wasn't showing up to heal the anxiety. She wasn't showing up to heal the voices in her mind. She wasn't just showing up to heal the sensations in her body. She wasn't just showing up for the experience. She was showing up for the experiencer of her soul essence, her inner family, the inner aspects of her own self. And that made it worth it. Because the feeling of being connected with those inner parts of self made everything worth it, even while continuing to struggle for all of those debilitating challenges for years. Heaven on earth begins in the space of intimate connection with all parts of you. I found pictures of my past self in the midst of everything I just described. All those challenges that literally felt like a living hell. And in this picture, my past self was connecting with herself in a mirror. And despite all the disruptions, the caption on it said, "Being with you is a heaven on earth sensation." Even in the midst of that literal living hell, my past self found heaven because she found it in the infinite love of her soul and in the intimate connection with all parts of her, and the power of that love, the power of that inner love that she was able to attune with in the midst of all that darkness, had the power to create healing and to open new doorways of awareness so that she could know the potential for the heaven on earth that was always hers by divine right, that was always her divine destiny. And you too have a divine destiny of experiencing and co-creating and expanding into heaven on earth. And that begins through the infinite love of who you truly are, through intimate connection with all parts of you in body, mind, and soul, even in the midst of your greatest traumas. You can turn it into triumph by connecting with the love that you are. Even in the greatest depths of darkness, you can transmute and alchemize it into light and liberation by attuning with the infinite love that you are. And as you gain deeper connection with all parts of you, you hold infinite power to transcend anything you're going through and to expand into heaven on earth through body, mind, and soul, fully anchored in the unconditional love that you truly are. So the miracles that my past self successfully created in her healing journey really began by connecting with the infinite love that she truly was and developing a powerful internal relationship with the essence of her own self that was within the experience, not just looking at what she was experiencing or how she was experiencing it, but attuning with the who that was within the experience, the essence of self, the substance of the soul, the energies of her consciousness, the who, the self who was within those experiences. Through loving attunement with all parts of the inner experiencer, my past self was able to begin creating heaven on earth from within, despite being in the exact opposite of that while struggling with hundreds of sensations that felt like a literal living hell. And through all the living hell that my past self was enduring, she successfully taught herself neuroscience to understand what she was actually experiencing, why it was happening, and what she could do to transform and heal it at the root cause. And she was able to teach herself neuroscience because of the opportunity to collaborate with her inner soul family. So even though there were all those disruptions of well-being, she created a way to collaborate with her own consciousness despite its fragmented access to self. She taught herself neuroscience, deciphered the underlying causality, and went through a trial and error process to develop a way to understand and heal every single thing she was going through. And every single thing that I shared here that my past self was struggling with, once she started her own specific self-led path rooted in neuroscience, consciousness, and infinite love, she achieved 100% healing resolution of every single thing that I described here in less than 3 years. Every single thing that I described here, which had been compounding for over a decade from 20 years of complex trauma. And hundreds of doctors had said, I'm sorry, we've done everything, we've exhausted every tool in our books, and there's nothing we can do to help you. And that is what had led her to start exploring neuroscience, teaching herself online through websites and YouTube videos, and checking out books at the library, listening to podcasts, etc. My past self achieved 100% resolution of every single impossible thing that I described here in less than 3 years through a path that she developed from nothing. And this is the power that we all have within our own self essence, our own soul self, our own divine consciousness. This is the same power that you have to create healing in your life. This is the same power that you have to create transformation in your life. This is the exact same power that is already flowing in the veins of your body, in the beat of your heart, in the blink of your eyes, the window to your soul. This is the same power that already exists in the expression of your voice and the power of your body and the physical expression and manifestation of your consciousness in human form. My past self had power to heal herself, independent of external guidance. She never had someone leading her through this process. She taught herself neuroscience, developed a new modality, and achieved 100% resolution of impossible, insurmountable challenges in less than 3 years. And in that process, she actually never believed it was possible. She had no idea if healing was even possible. She thought that she would be living with those conditions for the rest of her life. She thought that she would always be struggling with complex PTSD, even when she showed up every single day for every single practice and ritual and exploring and all the stuff. She never believed. She didn't know that actual healing was possible, but she showed up anyway. She showed up for herself. She showed up for the healing that was in front of her, the opportunity, the initiation that was in front of her. And one step led to another, and there was breakthrough after breakthrough, and she showed up for the hard stuff. She showed up through the challenge and the struggle. She showed up to be present with those insurmountable challenges. She showed up to be present with the pain. She showed up to be present with the darkness. She showed up to be present with it. She showed up even when there was month-long dissociative blackouts where 24/7 reliving of the worst trauma was consuming every organ in her body, every cell of her body, every energy of her mind, body, and soul. And even in the worst of the worst of the worst, she never took a day off from healing. She never took a day off of showing up for herself. She never took a day off of being present with the intention for deep healing in whatever way that could look like in the moment. And on the other side of all of that, my past self came forth, and then I could not remember my entire life. I couldn't remember those years of healing. I couldn't remember my childhood. I couldn't remember my adulthood. I couldn't remember going places, doing things, having a life that wasn't consumed by healing or complex PTSD. I couldn't remember having friends and going out for a cup of coffee and laughing and chatting and relaxing. I couldn't remember going and doing something just for fun. I had no memories of ever having fun. I had no memories of going out and doing something and just feeling like myself and getting to just enjoy life and have fun. I had no memories of who I was. I had no memory of my existence. I didn't know that I existed. And every single day, it was then another version of a living hell in a very different way, where every day for a very long time, I do have some personal memories of this-ish, Every day I would wake up and immediately look in a mirror, because there were daily mirror practices through all of this, and just start crying and full body sobbing and weeping and screaming, and just this massive reassociating with the fact that I do exist, the fact that my past self did make it through that living hell, that I am alive, that I am a person, that I have a name, that I have a self. And with no memory of the years of self-healing, I didn't know what to do about it. And so I started my self-healing journey from scratch. And I had to relearn everything that my past self had already learned in the 3 prior years of deep healing. And it was a different version of a living hell. Compared to what had been happening in the years prior, it actually felt like heaven on earth. But from where I am now, looking back, it was just another version of a living hell, because I was so disconnected from myself. I still didn't recognize myself in a mirror. I still didn't have associations with the sound of my own voice. I still didn't have associations with the body that I live in. I still didn't have association with my life experiences. I still didn't have association with my work and the modalities that I had developed. I still didn't have a personal story of my own existence. None whatsoever. And the fragments of stories that I had didn't felt like me. There was still no connection with the few things that I did know about my own existence. I didn't know about geography. I didn't know that there were other countries. I didn't know that there were other states and cities. I didn't know that I had traveled before. I didn't know anything. I had no memory of watching TV shows. I had no memory of literally anything. And it was this brand new opportunity to recreate myself and to rebirth who I am through the infinite love of my soul. It was a new opportunity to show up for myself 24/7 in any and every way that my inner soul family needed. It was an opportunity to redevelop my brain, body, and subconscious to become anyone that I would choose to be. It was an opportunity to not just recover memories from my life, but to rewrite the story of my existence. It was an opportunity to shift my identity and rebirth the who that I am through love, wholeness, empowerment, embodiment, worthiness, and confidence. It was an opportunity. And again, my past self rose up into the opportunity presented to her. And she showed up, and she created rituals and practices for different times of the day, different things that she was struggling with, and different parts of her inner self. And she healed it. She healed it. In less than 3 years, again, she healed it. And I can remember my life now. I can remember my life. I can remember my existence. I have a story to the who that I am. I love who I see in a mirror. I'm connected with the sound of my voice. And there's still progress. It's an ever-evolving journey. But she healed that. My past self went through every version and every layer of a living hell that you can possibly imagine, and even more layers and levels of a living hell that you cannot even imagine. But she planted seeds every day. And those were seeds of love. And those were seeds of presence. And through the power of her love and her presence, she made it through that. I found a picture of no conscious memory. The memories are all fragmented. Even if I do remember, they're in bits and pieces that don't feel like me. But I found a picture where my past self wrote in Sharpie on her body, "Who am I? Love. Where am I? Presence." And love and presence became her mantra. I am love and I am presence, and that is the only thing that I want or need to be. And that focus kept her centered. That focus kept welcoming all parts of her back home to herself. And now I get to reap the rewards of her patient endeavors. All parts of me welcomed home in the sacred, infinite, divine magic and miracle of this now moment. Yatiarovoskia nakakarovuno kakaria ganakia ke ai jovomono kuruia trekaya voshkia nataro gonokokoruia tre iarvomoshkia nanai ganakia keke jatia tuorugea nanakia vatia rovum noi ai jakia vo no kokoro ia. And all aspects of my divine consciousness, my soul self, all parts of my body, mind, get to have this new beginning of living heaven on earth, where I wake up so connected with me, I am whole and complete before my day even starts, where my body feels such divine ecstasy in how I process sensory stimulus. The taste of fruit teleports me to higher dimensions of heavenly wonder. The taste and the sight and the texture of food and flowers and every aspect of nature is the most heavenly wonder I ever could have dreamed possible, far superior to even before all the health challenges got so intense. It is literally heaven on earth. My body is so grounded and so connected. I have instant attunement with every inch of my muscles, every inch of my inner and outer body realities. I can feel what's happening inside of my body in ways that I've never been able to attune with before. And this deep connection allows for all parts of me to feel more connected and allows for every moment of life experience to be lived in a deeper divine dynamic wonder of heavenly perfection and ecstatic bliss. And my body naturally navigates from presence, bliss, peace, abundance, joy, freedom, embodied worthiness, and empowered confidence. And I feel more fulfillment within my being and the expression of my being than I've ever known or ever could have imagined possible, because my inner realities are patterned with the energies to navigate from and through that. My thoughts feel like a loving best friend. My mind feels like a spacious, luxurious mansion. My mind is literally in constant stillness. I don't need to meditate. I do occasionally, and there's different meditative practices that I do because I enjoy them. But my past self showed up for her meditation so consistently that she rewired her brain, body, and subconscious to navigate life from a meditative state. And that's my natural state of being. I couldn't not be in a still mind if I tried. It's constant stillness and quiet, clear, coherent, calm spaciousness beyond anything I've ever known in my entire life and beyond anything my past self could have dreamed possible. My mind and my body are so connected. There's no words to describe the profoundness of how attuned they are and present and clear and unified in their inner realities. And along with feeling life through a heaven on earth sensation within my own body, mind, and soul, I now have this power and this awareness to understand all parts of me deeper than ever before, to know what's happening in my brain, body, and subconscious, to know how that's affecting the essence of my soul within my human experience, how to be there for parts of me deeper than I've ever known or ever could have dreamed possible. And to be able to distinguish the identity of my soul from anything and everything that I go through. And this is such a beautiful blessing to be able to understand how parts of me are associating with themselves in the human experience, how parts of me are going through the process of a human identity, but then also being able to differentiate the truth of who I am, the essence of who I am, the soul self of me from that, so that I can be there for those parts of me in a deeper way, in a way that helps them feel more connected. So I'm not dismissing what they're going through, but I'm able to understand it and show up for that, and then lead them to a new space of awareness and being. The tools and awareness I've cultivated allow me to instantly respond to different patterns of thoughts or emotions or behaviors that might occasionally arise as I notice, oh, that's the root cause. This is how I respond to it. And in this way, I'm able to maintain this well-being, to sustain this ongoing transformation, because it's a lifestyle of showing up for your well-being so that it's sustained and you don't just like end up, months or years down the road and there's all these other problems, but it's this consistent maintenance of your inner well-being in body, mind, and soul. And you can show up in conscious presence and personal power to respond to anything that might arise and be there in the moment of it and nip it in the bud, so to speak, get at the root of it so that it doesn't resurface in some other way later on. Despite the living hell that my past self endured, she successfully alchemized it so that I could now experience heaven on earth with all parts of self coming home to the infinite love that I am. And this heaven on earth is available to you as well. No matter who you are, where you're at, or what you are experiencing, you are meant to experience your mind as a spacious, luxurious mansion with thoughts that feel like a loving best friend, a body you enjoy experiencing life through, with emotions that feel like heaven on earth, an identity rooted in love and wholeness, fully expanding into your highest embodiment and expression through confidence, empowerment, and self-worth, a deep sense of knowing your worth and your worthiness. Through this deeper connection with all parts of you, you are meant to experience ever-increasing bliss, presence, peace, love, joy, fulfillment, freedom, profound liberation, and a deep sense of connection with all of you in body, mind, and soul. Heaven on earth is your birthright, and it begins through the infinite love and the profound presence of your inner being. And this is the journey that I lead my one-on-one clients through in my multi-month mentorship journey. No matter who you are, where you're at, what you're struggling with, what you desire to experience, what you've already tried that maybe has or has not served and supported your healing and expansion, I am here to support you as a guide and to lead you through the greatest steps of challenge and impossibility in the most loving and nourishing, empowering way imaginable, so that you can have all the tools and practices and awareness to lead yourself through that and reach the quote unquote other side, the light at the end of the tunnel, where you're able to notice these profound changes in your inner realities, these dramatic shifts of your personal experience, because you created healing at the root cause of any disruption of well-being. I'm here to help you heal residual impacts from all painful, challenging, or traumatic life experiences without ever needing to look back at any specific memories or details of the past. I'm here to help you heal inner well-being at the root cause of mental, emotional, somatic, habitual, and relational health. I'm here to support you in expanding your awareness, your personal power, and your consciousness. I'm here to help teach you how to work with your unconscious memories in everyday moments. These unconscious memories carry patterns of feeling and movement that guide your body to instinctively navigate life. Your unconscious memories affect approximately 80% of emotions and choices unconsciously. They cannot be accessed through the conscious mind, and they hold on to things that your conscious mind either forgot or never had access to. And it also affects your brain-body regulation in every area of health and well-being. And so you get to learn how to work with your own unconscious memories in a way that holds ease and enjoyment, love and presence, so that you have power in your everyday moments, and that power can create change now and can serve and support you for the rest of your beautiful, magnificent, divine, heaven on earth life. I'm here to lead you to meet parts of you that you've never fully known, to shift how you relate with yourself, and to elevate your identity through love, wholeness, empowered confidence, and embodied worthiness. I'm here to support you in creating new ways of relating, connecting, and associating with yourself so that you can meet the true essence of your soul and to know the truth of who you are beyond just your human experiences, and then anchor more of your authentic self into your human expression as your body, mind is upgraded to support your soul self. I'm here to help lead you to know exactly how to create resolution of any disruption of well-being, no matter what the pattern is, no matter how long it's been there, no matter how hard it's been to change, no matter how intense and chronic it is, no matter what else you've tried. It's time to create complete resolution in a way that helps you feel empowered in your life journey. I'm here to help you alchemize all the pain that you've experienced in life so that you are liberated into the infinite love of your true self and free to experience heaven on earth without anything weighing you down, holding you back, or restricting the essence of your true self and the bliss of your being. I'm here to help you welcome home all parts of you as you further awaken to the truth of who you are, and to teach your body-mind to navigate from presence, peace, bliss, joy, love, and freedom. And I do all this through neuroscience, consciousness, and infinite love. Through body, mind, soul treasure mapping, I'll lead you to create a collection of visual illustrations to understand your inner soul family and how parts of you flow through the miracles of your body, mind. And from this expanded awareness of your own inner being, I lead you to have daily practices through personalized play prompt prescriptions. You are prescribed play because you are allowed to enjoy the process of healing. You are allowed to enjoy the journey of reclaiming your power. You are allowed to celebrate the miracle of you every step of the way, no matter what you're experiencing. And so I lead you to cultivate these daily practices that can help you in any part of the day, in any struggle or challenge or inner thing that you're experiencing, and for every aspect of your inner self, as you get to know the inner family of your own soul essence. I then lead you even deeper into unveiling miracles of your body, mind, and soul through guided mirror-thons or eye-gazing practices in mirrors. And I lead you through this beautiful experience where you get to meet all parts of you and create quantum healing in these miraculous moments, and then to add mirror practices to the practices you're already enjoying in your everyday life. Through this multi-month one-on-one personalized mentorship journey, you receive weekly guided 1-hour sessions with me, access to 15 different playbooks and videos that share more teachings and practices to lead you into the inner work and the inner journey in a very intimate way that you can do from the safety, privacy, and comfort of your own home, or integrate into your everyday moments in your lifestyle, and a few other things to solidify the power of this work as we enjoy these weekly sessions, your daily practices, and access to supplementary content creations so that you can create deep healing transformation beyond your wildest dreams. You have the power to alchemize any struggle into victory. You have the power to alchemize any darkness into light. You have the power to alchemize any form of dis-ease or disruption of well-being into great health and well-being. You have the power to alchemize any traumas into liberation. You have the power to alchemize any form of hell that you might be struggling with to experience heaven on earth within the power of your own inner being. You have the power and the opportunity to repattern your body, mind, and soul to naturally navigate self and life from an energy of infinite love that can feel like heaven on earth. The infinite love that is the truth of who you are is where heaven is made manifest on the earth. The location of heaven on earth is you. The location of heaven on earth is you, and it's time for every part of you to know that and to welcome home all parts of you from past experiences, parts of you that never felt seen or loved, parts of you who never felt safe or supported, parts of you who never felt accepted and loved for who you really are. It's time to welcome home all parts of you so that you can know the heaven on earth that is the truth of your being and the power of the infinite love that you truly are. You can find all the information about my mentorship offering in the podcast show notes or the video description, and we can connect and explore how this journey can be personalized to fit you. You can reach out to me through Instagram or email, where I'll lead you through the client intake process so we can make sure this is the perfect fit for you and I to work and play together. And we can connect through a free complimentary miracle meeting where we can chat more personally and get to know each other and really set some powerful intentions for this pathway to ignite the loving liberation that awaits you. In the meantime, always remember the infinite power that you have sees every moment as a brand new opportunity to show up for yourself in a new way that can empower you to create the healing transformation that you desire to experience. Remember that every challenge is an opportunity in disguise. And you have the power to alchemize darkness into light, fear into love, anxiety into peace, sorrow into joy, trauma into triumph. And any challenge that feels like a living hell, you have the power to alchemize it and enter heaven on earth to experience that reality instead. Heaven on earth for the rest of your life, for the weeks, months, years, decades to come, because of this moment where you chose to reclaim your power, because of this moment where you chose to show up for yourself, because of this moment where you chose enough is enough, and I deserve better, and I deserve to show up for all parts of me to heal this at the root cause and to transform my life from the inside out. You have all the power you need within you, and it begins in the opportunity of every present moment through the infinite love of who you truly are. And so I ask you again, what if you were born with full knowing and sovereign remembrance of your sacred divinity, to intimately know your oneness with the source of infinite love? What if joy and freedom were taught as the core curriculum of your upbringing? What if passion, pleasure, and play were always normalized through purity and innocence? What if worthiness and confidence had always been patterned into the core of your identity? What if you'd always felt empowered in the being of your body, anchored in heart-centered courage, inner leadership, self-trust, and the authentic vision of your soul? What if you'd always been taught to see, feel, and know infinite abundance as your natural state of being, to feel lavishly supported and totally taken care of? What if you'd always known inner peace and tranquility, always enjoyed the bliss of pure presence, always received unconditional love by being you? Who would you be now if your childhood self had always been aware of the infinite love of who they are and the sacred, precious miracle of their divinity? Who would you be now, and are you ready to become the who that you truly are, the who that you have always been meant to be, and the life that you have always been worthy of experiencing by creating heaven on earth from within? Thank you for joining Kristin's Quantum Catalyzers for this incredible adventure, deep diving into body, mind, and soul through neuroscience, consciousness, and infinite love to be in service to your true self and your best life. If you enjoyed or gained anything from this adventure here, please feel free to share it with someone you know. Give us an amazing rating here on this beautiful platform, and stay tuned for upcoming adventures. I look forward to serving and supporting your beautiful pathway of loving liberation. If you desire an expanded identity arising from your boundless consciousness, deeply rooted in your embodied self-worth and empowered self-confidence, where you effortlessly unlock ever-increasing joy and freedom through the luxurious mansion and opulent realms of your mind and the serene tranquility and blissful ecstasy of your body, and embrace this as your natural state of being. If you crave inner thoughts that feel like a loving best friend, emotions that soar into heaven on earth, choices that nourish your best life, and beliefs that foster your limitless expansion, all through deeper connection with your true self, as you feel greater enjoyment, pleasure, satisfaction, and fulfillment than ever before, then you have landed in the perfect place to create magic and miracles. Did you know that there are more neurons in your wondrous brain than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy? So to create radical healing, deep transformation, lasting change, and sustainable well-being so your inner realities feel like heaven on earth, I offer guided journeys deeply rooted in understanding all of the miracles that make you, you. 3 key methods characterize my original trifecta treasure trove. Through Body, Mind, Soul treasure mapping, enjoy in-depth discussions and create personalized illustrations to understand how your soul flows through each region of your brain,
body, and subconscious to encounter personal human experiences. Discover empowering ways to navigate life as you distinguish aspects of self from parts of your body mind. Through play prompts, receive personalized daily practices to nourish the infinite love that you are, address the root cause of inner experiences, and deeply rewire your body mind. Create profound healing and sustainable transformation with ease and enjoyment. From 2 to 5 minute practices incorporated in everyday moments to deeper dive journeys lasting 20 minutes to 2 hours, your guided experiences will perfectly fit who you are, where you're at, and what your intentions are. Through guided marathon journeys, intimately meet further aspects of self while rewiring the foundation of your brain, body, and subconscious. Practice eye gazing in unique ways to further fulfill your personal intentions. Expand your consciousness, create feelings of unconditional love inside of your body, and ignite lasting change from the inside out. Are you ready to intimately know thyself, nourish inner relationships with unconditional love, and expand the limitless power of your consciousness to create deeper well-being in mental, emotional, habitual, and somatic experiences, heal the root cause of any inner issue, and cultivate feelings of heaven on earth within body, mind, and soul? Join me for my multi-month one-on-one personalized mentorship journey. Let's dive deeper into your body, mind, and soul to create the deep healing, transformation, and expansion that you so deeply desire. Magic and miracles await you.